Yes, ma'am.
My name is Pearl Wise. To my left is Mr. Roche. To my right is Mr. Freeman. Will the staff at Richland please introduce yourselves?
Deputy Jackson.
All right, Deputy Jackson, and you know the protocol. We're gonna want your input at some point in here. All right, thank you. So, although Mr. Dennis, you've been through this before, I mean, I'm going to explain the process. We're gonna read some information into the record. Afterwards, we're going to conduct an interview with you, starting with Mr. Freeman. You have no visitors, and so after we finish with our interview, we're going to give you an opportunity to make a final statement, a closing statement. Tell us whatever you want us to know, and then after that, we'll render our decision. Do you understand the process?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to read the information record. Your name is Dennis K Mahoney. DOC number is 498644. You're listed as a first offender. Your offense is aggravated incest. You were sentenced on June 25th of 2005. Your sentence was 20 years hard labor. Your good time date, your parole eligibility date reflects February the 12th of 2012. You don't earn good time, and your full-time date is listed as June 20th of 2025. That sounds about right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, would you answer Mr. Freeman, please?
Okay, Mr. Mahoney, how old are you?
I am 51 years old.
Okay, and how long have you served on this sentence?
I'm 1 month shy of 18 years.
Okay. And what's your educational level?
I completed high school before coming to prison. Since I've been in here, May of 2022, I received my Associate of Arts in General Studies from Ashland University. I'm currently pursuing my bachelor. It'll be in Applied Communications. I have 4 semesters to complete that. When I do, I'll have a minor in Religion, Sociology, and Business Administration.
Okay, that's great. Your last hearing was in 2019?
Yes, sir.
What other classes have you taken since 2019?
In 2019, after that hearing, I was transferred to Bayou Dorcheat Correctional Center to participate in a sex offender treatment program. Started it, things were shut down a little bit because that was a COVID year. Did finish up in August, the prescribed program that Mr. Johnson had laid out. I was supposed to take some other classes with that, but due to COVID, none of those happened. So I hate it, but it was, the pandemic.
The other classes, that was phase 4?
No, sir. He only prescribed to us the phase 1 through 3. That's what he had instructed us at the beginning. The other classes were accepting responsibility in a finger pointing world, victims awareness, some other those classes too that he was supposed to give us, but we weren't able to do because of COVID.
All right, there's a lot of statements. I mean, I've read all the arrest reports. I read your statements from different times. Tell me what happened. What did you do to your daughter?
I molested my daughter for a period of 2 to 3 years. Time she was 5 to 8.
So you do admit that you did do it?
Yes, sir.
Was there any intercourse?
No, sir.
Okay, so what was the molestation consist of?
Mouth to genital mostly. And touching and all that.
All right, but did you know that did you know her?
No, sir.
You had no indication of that.
No, sir.
Okay. You used to take showers with this young lady?
Yes, sir.
All right. Law enforcement, the judge is opposed. District attorney is opposed. Sheriff Steve Prater is opposed. The chief is opposed. Your family and father is unopposed. And he said he would provide you with his home, a place to stay. What kind of effect you think this had on your daughter?
I know it had a bad effect on her. I know it was harmful and hurtful. Through my incarceration and through programs that I took early on with Blue Walters and talking with the staff there, I come to realize that I myself had been molested as a child. There's a period of my elementary school I know nothing about. And through talking with my family and my dad about it, he told me that I was with my grandfather for a period of time during those. My grandfather also molested my mother and my sister. So I know the effects that it had, you know, and the detrimental part of it.
Okay. Have you received any counseling or anything for you being molested?
No, sir. Well, I say no, sir. I worked for the chaplain when I was in Jackson Parish, and there was periods of times that me and him would talk and counsel with me there. And I hated he wound up passing away in 21. So I will miss him.
Okay. The victim's mother, Anjanette, I'm not even trying to pronounce that name, Krista's son, I guess. She's strongly opposed, so is your victim. She's very strongly opposed. And, you know, it has caused problems with her in her life, even though she's doing the best that she can to move on with it. I want to put that on the record. What would you say to the victim and her mother if you had the opportunity?
If I had the opportunity, I would tell them that I apologize and that I'm sorry for my actions. I place no blame on either of them for anything that happened. It's all my fault. You know, and that's part of what I understood through taking a course of accepting responsibility. You know, we have the choices for our actions, and it's the actions that I took that caused this, you know, and I apologize for it.
Your risk is low. I have no further questions.
No questions.
Mr. Mahoney, if you're successful today, what is your transition plan?
My transition plan is, you know, in the beginning is to go stay with my dad. He does have a house and a place for me to stay, not only the one he lives in currently, but he's also maintained the residence that I grew up in.
And that's the one that you and your sister was living in together? Is it that house?
One on Savannah. I have two addresses. One's in Bossier City and one's in Shreveport.
And
so
but what I'm asking, at the time of this offense, you were living with your sister at one time, right? Y'all share the house. Is it the same house?
Well,
No.
it depends on which sister. I have one biological sister. She's older than me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. So go ahead and tell me your transition plan.
Yeah. Now my brother has also offered me a place to stay in Ohio with him, you know, if I need to. You know, if I'm granted today, depending on my release, I'm going to continue my bachelor's degree because I do have exactly 4 semesters left. So I will Ashland provides an opportunity for me to finish that. They will provide me with all the material I need, from laptops to books, so I can continue that education and receive my bachelor's degree.
So you're gonna live with your father or in some of his property, how you gonna support yourself?
Well, right now I'm not positive because I have been locked up for 18 years. A lot of stuff has changed around the area. I'm not sure about employment, but I will go seek employment. You know, somewhere. I enjoy office work. That's mostly what I've done while I've been incarcerated, working for the chaplain in Jackson. I've also worked in the kitchen when I was at Webster, from scullery work to line server to being the inventory and stock manager, you know, over our stuff. So that's something that I'm kind of looking forward maybe to trying, is to get into somewhere that has an inventory or inventory control type environment that I can do that type of work again.
Okay, okay. All right. That's all the questions I have. We have no visitors. So, Mr. Sir.
I just want to say I apologize that my dad couldn't make it. He wasn't aware of how to do this. We've talked, and he had called the parole office there in Shreveport and some other places to try to find a way to do it, because he really wanted to be here. He's been with me at every other of my hearings in 2011 and in 2019. And I hate that he just could not be here today.
Okay, all right. I do too. Okay. All right, sir. What you want us to know? What has he been doing around there?
Honestly, he's been a model inmate. I haven't had any issues as far as write-ups or anything like that. No disrespect or anything from him.
Okay. What does he do every day for the institution? Yeah,
He's in his dorm. He going to classes often, as far as his college classes.
Yeah. Can I speak to him on that? May I speak to you on that?
and the officer finishes whenever he finishes. Anything else you want us to know, sir?
That's all he does. He goes to his college classes, you know, on regular basis. They give him a computer laptop to take in the dorms with them to do their classes, to do their school work. And they can daily get those laptops on a daily basis.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate your input. It's valuable to our decision making.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
so what you want us to know, Dennis? About this class?
Well, what I want to add as far as doing, besides being in the dorm and doing my college work, I do clean the dorm up in the mornings because I am in a work release dorm, and I'm one of a few people that doesn't leave the dorm. So I usually clean up in the mornings with the chemicals and stuff, and make sure that's taken care of, as far as the toilets, the showers, and all that is cleaned up in the morning for the rest of the guys.
Oh, good, okay. Sanitize the area, okay, well, we appreciate it. Are there any further questions? No. All right, so give us your final statement, Dennis. What do you want us to know before we vote?
Well, I just want to first thank y'all for giving me this opportunity today to come before the board. If I was granted parole today, I can let you know that I would strive to be a better citizen and to be productive into the community that I'm going to be going to. You know, it's been a long road of incarceration. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about life and how to deal with things. I've maintained a clean record for 18 years. I have no write-ups, no disciplinary reports for the 18 years that I've been incarcerated. I've gotten along with all the staff of every facility I've been at. So, you know, I just have put my faith in God early on and asked Him to carry me through and to protect me in each step of the way that He's guided me in that. He's always brought me to facilities where His presence is felt. I've prayed about a lot of places to go, and you know, the main point behind my prayer is always someplace it's a spiritual blessing or something that's going to edify me. He's never sent me to a facility where there's a lot of trouble, there's a lot of fights or anything of that nature. He's always guided my path and set me in that. I was kind of heartbroken when I got shipped from Webster to come here, but I had to remember, and I told my dad this on the phone, passage of scripture in Acts chapter 17, verse 26. that says God set the times and places that men should live, that they should seek him, reach out to him, and find him. So God has always got our place and time. God's always got everything lined out for us. You know, he knows where we're going to be. He knows the times we're going to be there. But the key point is always to seek him and reach out to him. And that's what I've done in every place I've been, is always put God first in my life and in my decisions. And he's helped me to stay sane, you know, through the 18 years and become a better person now than what it was when I came in. Because when I came in, I know I was tore up. You know, I don't have an excuse for my action. I know I suffered a lot, you know, and sometimes it's shown its effect here in prison with a little bit of depression, but I've always handled it through journaling and writing, you know, and that's what I've done while I've been here. You know, I had a lot of dark days, and you know, I hate to say I apologize for what I do, you know, and you know, I've just set out to be a better person now than what I was, you know, and that's what I'm continuing to strive for. You know, I've attended, you know, AA meetings. They've helped me a lot. I plan on doing the same thing when I go home. I intend to celebrate recovery. There's a lot of places that continue to celebrate recovery. I plan on finding those meetings to continue to go to, because it's people, the only people that understand me is people that's been in my place and been in my position. So anybody that suffered with addiction or any kind of problems, you know, be it alcohol, pornography, drug, that's the ones that I need to talk to, and that's the kind of support I know I can find from those people. So, you know, to close out, I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity again today, and thank you.
Well, so, and we didn't mention that, but you do have a history of watching pornography, and that is a history.
Yes, ma'am.
And I forgot to mention that as well. Is the panel ready to vote?
Yes.
That's all from the executive session.
We have a motion for executive session. Roll call, please. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. At this time, we'll be in executive session to discuss confidential matters related to your case. Just stand by, sir. We'll be right back.
Yes, ma'am.
So Wise, maybe you should add that it's not just pornography that he has a history of watching, but it's child. Then add your word to it. What are you even talking about? What executive session are you talking about? You know, I got a court document here, because this cockroach, this disgusting, despicable, sociopathic waste of life was going to go to trial. And we'll go over that document, and it's going to, if you're not already fired up, it's going to fire you up. Signs of sociopaths. I am so sick. I am so exhausted. I am so fed up with them continuously saying that these cockroaches are a low risk to reoffend. They have a low risk score. You got to tear up this risk score program that you have, and you have to throw it in the trash, and you blow it up and burn it. This cockroach will reoffend. He will reoffend. The question is, will you catch him? This was his own child. Started at 5 years old. And by the way, it was full intercourse. And Mr. Freeman, as an FYI, it's not a young lady. Were you taking a shower with that young lady? Young lady? You mean your 5-year-old daughter?
The panel is, parole is reconvening at 11:24 a.m. at Richland Parish Detention Center with Dennis Mahoney, 498644. After executive session, the panel is ready to vote. Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Mahoney. It's a tough, real tough. What you did was very heinous. You know, it's your own biological daughter. It's a tough case. But my vote today is going to be to grant, with the condition that you're to absolutely have no contact with the victim or her mother, that you're not to reside in the same state as the victim or the mother. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I want you on that 2 years of supervision with probation and parole.
Yes, sir.
I want them to monitor you. I want them to ensure you continue sex offender treatment, which if you wait till you good time date, then there would be no treatment that you have to go to. So that's my vote today. I have nothing else to say. Don't let me down, because I promise you I'll hammer you next time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Roche.
Ms. Mahoney, based upon overwhelming opposition from the judge, the DA's office, law enforcement, the victim of this crime is still emotionally, mentally, and physically affected by your egregious crime, and she is vehemently opposed. The victim's mother is adamantly opposed, and I'd like to see the fourth phase of sex offender treatment. Therefore, I am denying your request.
At this point, Mr. Mahoney, thank you, Mr. Roche. You have one vote to grant, one vote to deny. My vote is to grant. Due to the time served and the opportunity on supervision for you to have more monitoring, that's important. Your excellent disciplinary history while you're incarcerated, and your own insights, the insights that you voiced today, and the fact that you owned your crime. You could state it with freedom what you did. You owned it. I mean, you did a great harm. You healed yourself, and you've been helping others, and that's all I can ask. But unfortunately, sir, due to your offense, a vote of 2-1 in favor would not release you. So I encourage you to reapply as soon as you are eligible, and just stay busy. Best wishes to you, sir. But you've been denied with a vote of 2-1.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Well, this was my last opportunity because I do have to wait 2 years from denial. So I won't have another opportunity to see y'all, but I do thank you for your time. I know I've seen you, Ms. Weiss, several times through my hearings, and I do thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome. And I was glad to be able to give you a yes this time. I really was. Richmond Parish, thank y'all for accommodating us so excellently this morning. Appreciate y'all. Have a good day.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day.
Spoken like a true sociopath, like a cockroach. Another one who's wants to get the last word in. Actually, the law's changed where now they have to wait 5 years for a parole hearing. So, yeah, he's going to be free anyways. You know, Miss Wise with her decisions. Earlier today, just a few hours ago, she denied someone when the other two granted him. And that person had no violent offenses, had no crimes against children. It was like, you know, the classic, you know, addiction problem. And she denied him. And then he and you know, the only thing that, like, with what Mr. Freeman, at least what Mr. Freeman said was, you screw up and I'm going to nail you. And also that he wanted to set those provisions and have him on supervision, which means he could have violated his supervision, I guess. At least there was some logic to it, right? It's about, like, and mandating that he can't even be in the same state. I didn't know that was a mandate that was allowed. Is that even, like, constitutional? You can tell someone they can't be in the state. They have to leave the state. I mean, I've seen where they would say your parole would be granted on condition of being transferred out of serving your parole out. So I guess they can. So from that argument, if you want to say okay, but the idea that Miss Wise would even then say, I'm going to parole you because of your honesty and because of your insight, he lied. He was having full-blown intercourse with his 5-year-old daughter. Do you guys not look at the documents that we have access to? The public has access to? Richard found it. He shared it with me. Let's go take a look. Because apparently Miss Wise couldn't take the time. Mahoney and his former wife Angie were married from 1991 to 2001, 10 years. They had 2 children, a daughter and a son. After the couple separated, Angie moved to Utah, and the children stayed in Louisiana with Mahoney. The children would visit their mother in Utah during school holidays and summer vacation. How did he get custody? Think about what he must have done, the manipulation to the courts and to everything else to get custody. And think about this. It would all have been planned. He literally thought to himself, I got 2 kids. I got them to myself. Think about that. That's the reality that we live in with this cockroach. That's the truth. That's when she discovered her daughter was making inappropriate sexual references regarding her father in her diary when she was almost 8 years old. And I got to tell you, writing a diary at almost 8, that's impressive. I mean, my child's almost 8, and I couldn't imagine him actually writing in a diary. She's a smart girl. It's such a shame. After an investigation, Mahoney was arrested and charged with aggravated incest. The police investigation revealed that between May 2000 and June 2002, Mahoney fondled and engaged in sexual intercourse. There it is, right here, public record. Well, but according to Miss Wise, and I know she has these records, they have to have it. They asked him, and he said no. Well, what's this? Explain this to me. BM, his daughter, was born September 15, 1994. The record reflects the accounts of the events never varied. Her record of accounts never varied because children don't lie. Not about this stuff. The matter was set for trial, but immediately prior to the trial, Mahoney pled guilty. So this cockroach, this creature actually brought it to trial, and right before trial, he took a plea deal, and we have seen this before. Immediately prior to trial. It could have happened the day of. In fact, during the guilty plea, Mahoney admitted to having committed between 60 and 70 acts. That's what he admitted to. It was probably hundreds and hundreds. He admitted to 60 and 70. The trial court sentenced him to a maximum penalty of 20 years. Why is that a maximum penalty? How is that a maximum? How can you give a maximum of 20 years? It doesn't even make sense to me. Can't you give 20 years for each count? I don't understand that. We see people locked up longer. You'll get more time for robbing a bank. You'll get more time for purse snatching. You'll get more time for stealing 2 lobsters. You'll get more time for having a couple ounces of anything. We've seen it. But for this, child, who cares? And then he appealed. He appealed. He said it was excessive. How could you give me 20 years? How? I mean, I was only doing this to my 5-year-old daughter. His maximum sentence was carefully deliberated by court, which gave excellent detail for the reasons for the sentence. It noted that BM was 5 years old when the abuse began. The trial court recognized Mahoney's admission that he admitted between 60 and 70 incidents of aggravated incest. That for you, YouTube. You can say everything else on YouTube. You can say, but no. So God forbid you'll say a trigger word. We can all live in Winnie the Pooh land, but you probably can't even have that anymore either, right? Makes a ton of sense, YouTube. Pathetic. Who makes these rules anyways? God forbid someone gets triggered. Makes no sense. BM, his biological daughter of note, the trial court stated that during the investigation of Mahoney, the police seized his computer. Yes, during the investigation, they seized the computer and found child pornography on his hard drive. However, Mahoney was not charged for this additional crime. Why not? I have no idea. God forbid he spend more than 20 years in prison, I suppose. The trial court took in consideration both BM's testimony and the written statement of her mother. The trial court also considered that BM is being treated for mood disorders and seizures. Poor guy. Oh, that's BM is being treated. His daughter is being treated for mood disorders and seizures, resulting from seizures. At this time, she was 8 years old when she's having seizures. Trial court observed that despite the horrendous acts committed, Mahoney still failed to pay child support, nor had he paid for her therapy. Can you imagine? I'm not surprised. I'm glad the court pointed that out. Finally, the court noted that Mahoney had no remorse for the crime, only regret being caught. And I agree, he still showed no remorse for the crime. He showed none. He literally said in his closing statement, I place no blame on them for what happened. What? You place no blame on your 5-year-old daughter for what happened? For what you did? You don't place blame on her? That's your final remarks? You're a real prince. Prince enough for Miss Wise to think you deserve freedom. He was, and his son is a victim in this too, but he was having his son abuse his daughter as well. He, the way that I see how this happened is he married, had kids with the intention so he can make playthings of them, got divorced, took them to another state, and then fulfilled his fantasy. And fulfilled it for years until his brilliant daughter put it in writing under the age of 8 years old. And this is why I film this. This is why I commit so much of my time into this. Because I don't make money on this video. I don't. If you know anything about YouTube, there's nothing to be made on these videos. It's so this doesn't get hidden in the archives of the internet. So it doesn't disappear. This criminal, this sociopath, this cockroach, no matter what the bottom line of this result is, he's going to be free. He's going to be walking free with no parole supervision, with no restrictions. He'll have to register. But you don't think he's going to reoffend? He will. It's just, will he get caught? Whenever a DA hands out a 20-year sentence for a roach like this, they're just kicking the ball down the road. That's all they're doing. They're kicking the ball down the road. There's no number of programs that will make any difference. It's pathetic. Low risk score. Whoever designed that risk score and used in DOC, they need to get their brains checked, and to think that they have a PhD, and to think that they might have that they're getting paid to do it, and they probably get up at panels and speak about these things, when it only takes common sense to see that it's completely ridiculous. It would be laughable if it wasn't so dangerous. The trial court stated there was undue risk that Mahoney would commit other crimes of similar nature, and that any lesser sentence would depreciate the seriousness of the crime against his young daughter. Well, I agree with that. But in 20 years, he's going to do the same thing. So why didn't you figure out how to get him more time? No, it's not constitutionally excessive. It's his only biological daughter. The continuous abuse lasted for at least 2 years, at least, yes. Probably much longer, Probably her whole life. And caused serious emotional trauma for both of them and her family. Father was in position of trust with his child. He violated that trust. No child should have to experience what she experienced, let alone with her parents. Mahoney chose to gratify his own weird, bizarre sexual perversions over his obligation to treat his child as a parent should treat his child. Well said, whoever wrote this. The judge said that. So considering we do not find that the sentence imposed is grossly disproportionate to the severity of the offense, or is it shocking to our sense of justice, this consignment is therefore without merit. Thank you. For these foregoing reasons, the convictions of the sentence of Mahoney are confirmed. Yes, thank you. Thank you for confirming them. And you know what we'll do? We'll cement this in the history of the internet. It's now here forever. If someone's going to go and Google this man's name, you know what's going to pop up? This YouTube hearing. It will. Try it after this is published. Google his name. I bet you this is going to be the first thing on the line item. And it's not easy to change your name when you're a sex offender. It's very difficult. Might even be impossible. Nearly impossible. So there you go. We'll fight back in our own little ways. With that, I'll let you go.
Good afternoon. The committee is reconvening at Concordia Correctional Center. The time now is 12:28. My name is Pearl Wise. To my left is Mr. Roche. To my right is Mr. Freeman. We comprise your panel. Will the staff at Concordia please announce yourselves for the record?
Melanie Book, I'm the transition specialist here at Concordia.
Thank you, Ms. Melanie. I think you know the drill. At the proper time, we're gonna ask for your input as to how he's been doing, of late at that facility. Whatever you want to share with us.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for being with us and for accommodating us this afternoon. So sir, give us your name and DOC.
John Scott Martin,
What's your DOC?
is 77057,
There you go. You got it. We've already introduced ourselves. Let me explain the process. I'm going to read some information into the record. Afterwards, we're going to conduct an interview with you, starting with Mr. Rocha. He was assigned your case. You do have a supporter. You have Melanie Martin, your sister, here in support, and she will be speaking at the proper time.
Okay.
We're gonna read the information in the record. Again, everybody's gonna speak, and after we finish hearing all the testimony, you will have the final say. Tell us whatever you want us to know before we render our decision. You understand the process?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me read the information in the record. Your name is John Scott Martin, DOC number 770527. You're listed as a first felony offender. Your charge is indecent behavior with a juvenile under 13, 2 counts. You were sentenced on June the 28th of 2022 to 5 years at hard labor to run concurrent. So your total DOC time is 5 years. Your parole date is listed as, June the 28th of 2022. You do not earn good time. And your full term date is June 26th of 2024. That sounds about right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, would you answer, Mr. Roche?
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Good afternoon, Mr. Martin. Good afternoon. Mr. Martin, you were arrested on June 27th, 2019. Am I right? Yes, sir. And you were arrested for disturbing the peace, not fighting, and sexual battery. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And you ended up on June 28th, 3 years later, pleading to sexual behavior with a juvenile under the age of 13. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And count 2, behavior of juvenile under the age of 13. And you received 5-year sentence on both counts to run concurrently. Is that correct? Yes, sir. You also was charged with aggravated crime against nature, 2 counts, and those 2 charges were now processed. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And you agreed to serve 5 years for molesting your nieces. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How old were the victims?
They were 10, 1, 10, and 9.
1, 4, and 9? You said 10.
Yeah,
What are
10.
you, as young as 4 years old, is that correct?
No, sir.
My records show that your first victim, when this happened, was 4 years old.
Oh, okay.
Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's not correct.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And the other victim was 9 years old.
Yes, sir.
And you agreed to serve 5 years. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So tell me about the programs that you've completed since you've been incarcerated.
Since I've been in the program, it's showing me to better myself, not to harm nobody else.
Sir, tell me what programs you've completed.
Oh yeah, anger management.
What other programs?
That's all.
So you're in for molesting female at the age of 4 years old and 1 at 9 years old. Have you requested to be enrolled in sex offender treatment?
Now what day you say now?
Have you requested to be enrolled in sex offender treatment?
I don't know. What's the name?
Can I interject for a second?
Yes.
Mr. Martin has significant learning and cognitive disabilities, so some things he doesn't understand. He was in jail for 3 years in Washington before he was sentenced to Concordia. He's been here 1 year, and we referred him to sex offender treatment, but due to his disabilities and limited space, they've not pulled him. We did enroll him, and he's currently participating in anger management.
Okay. Thank you, officer.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Mr. Martin,
Yes, sir.
do you understand when you plead guilty, when you are released, you have to register as a sex offender for the rest of your life?
Yes, sir.
You realize that was a part of the judge's sentence?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martin, because of the lack of programming and the proximity of your good time date, I don't think you're ready to be released. I have no further questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Freeman, you have any questions? Okay. So, staff member, what do you want us to know about, anything that you want us to know about Mr. Martin?
Mr. Martin's been here since July of 2022. Security advised they have no reports of security issues or discipline issues on him. He's in one of our larger dorms, and we've not had any significant issues. We were aware he had some upcoming hearings. He's a low-risk offender, so he flies under the radar for screening purposes other than the sex offender treatment referral. So we did enroll him in the anger management class, and he is coming to every class and participating to the best of his abilities. But again, his understanding and comprehension sometimes is very minimal.
All right, thank you so much. We really appreciate it from having that information today. So, Mr. Martin, is there anything you want to tell us before we vote? Because you have no visitors today. Anything you want us to know before we vote? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Mrs. Belinda Martin, can we hear from you now?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you want us to know about your brother?
John is my older brother. He was raised in a Christian home and a Christian community. The things that are upon him is, a crime of nature or whatever, but I stand still that my brother didn't commit those crimes. And the things that he's done good in our community. He's done good for elderly. He's just a person that enjoys having time with elderly people. Basically, his family love him to death, and we wouldn't have it no other way. And I appreciate y'all listening to me and hearing my concerns, and I love my brother dearly.
All right, thank you, Ms. Moore. Ms. Moore, are you aware of his disability?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
How long has that been going on in his life? How many years?
Since he was born.
Okay. All righty. All right. Do you have any idea of, generally speaking, what the diagnosis is?
The only thing they could tell us that he was a retardation. That's all I understood.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that input. That helps a whole lot. Thank you. Thank you for participating today. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Moore, what do you want us to know before we vote?
Not nothing too much.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. The panel ready to vote?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Roche.
Mr. Martin,
Yes, sir.
I fully understand your situation, and hopefully the officer can get you into sex offender treatment so you can just get some information on what your offense was about. But based on a lack of rehabilitative program, no sex offender treatment, and the proximity of your full-term date, I'm denying your request.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Mr. Freeman?
I concur.
Okay. Has it been stated for the record, your opinions of the victims? We say that for the record.
The victim's parents, one set of parents are unopposed, and the other set of parents had no comment.
All right, I just wanted that stated for the record. Mr. Martin, I'm concerned about you as well. I concur with my colleagues. My vote is the same for the same reasons. And I just want you to really just work hard. You don't have long. When you finish the program that you're in now, your date of release will be even sooner. But best wishes to you, sir. But your parole has been denied today. Thank you, Ms. Morton, for participating today.
Okay.
And thank Concordia for accommodating us today in such an excellent manner. Thank you so much. It concludes our hearing. It's 12:41. Thank you.
Yep. So what we just saw here and why I thought we should do 2 hearings was maybe to bring some parallel or contrast to the different types of predators that we face. Although before I do bring up that parallel, I am confused, but being that I'm not, and I know we have a lot of people that work with those who are mentally challenged that are on this channel. I don't know enough about it to make accusations that he's faking it, that it's part of his manipulation. Although I have been tricked doing these hearings before, and that's why I'm so paranoid. I also don't understand how someone can know their DOC number by heart, but then seem to not know the age of their victim. To me, that just seems like manipulation. you would know if your victim is 9 years old or if your victim is 4 years old. I also didn't catch his age. I don't think I went back to the beginning twice to try to hear it. I wanted to do some fact checking. If he was younger, I don't think they use that word clinically anymore, mental retardation. And they've changed it to other verbiage. I think they call it DSM or something. And his sister said, "Oh, I don't know what his clinical is. They just said he's retarded." And that just sounded like, but again, if he's older, that was a term that was used back then. Maybe, I don't know, 30 years ago or something. But if you want to just assume that he's not manipulating and he is, incredibly low IQ or whatever it may be, it doesn't make him any less dangerous. On the contrary, he's probably just as dangerous. And then match that up to having a sister that doesn't believe he did anything wrong, it makes him even more dangerous. The idea that one of the parents are opposed and one is not. This man is going to go out there and he's going to harm another child. I couldn't catch with what he did. And again, I listened to this twice. Did he have was he like a serial molester? Was it just or was it the same two victims, but just the same offenses that they mentioned redundantly? I just couldn't pick up on that. But regardless, he got 5 years. 2 5-year sentences to run concurrently. It's like, I'm a broken record with this stuff, but DA, why are our children so meaningless to you? We had a hearing today where someone stole an ice cooler and he got 10 years. 1 year suspended. They were being nice, so he got 9. 9 he had to serve. Yeah, he absconded or these other things, but please, it doesn't compare. But again, we're going to do some contrasting. So you can have a predator that is equally as dangerous, who could low on the IQ chart, maybe clinically, the political correct word, having serious intellectual disabilities, and then you have the other predator that gets married to have children, manipulates, gets a divorce, somehow gets custody, moves to a different state, and then just full on manipulation, high IQ stuff. It's just two different kinds. It's two different kinds, and they're both as dangerous. But and he scares me. Really does, John Martin, because it's just he actually has family members that are gonna, if anything, just talk him into himself believing that he was illegally arrested. If he is feeble-minded, within a second, he's just going to think that. And people are going to leave him with their little kids again. It's just it's insane. It's such madness. Five years. You know, I I'm like severely learning disabled, and I went to like special ed, and I actually in the younger grades was in a special ed class where I was sharing the classroom with people who were severely mentally disabled, severely autistic. We didn't call it autistic then. I mean, you know, people who you see them today still, they're you know, they don't drive, they don't have jobs, they're for whatever reason, I was put in I shared a classroom with a lot of these type of kids. I didn't go to very good schools, so they didn't have like real special ed programs, and they just put all of us. Oh, you can't read, so you're going to go in this classroom with this guy who likes to take his pants off and run around the classroom barking like a dog. I'm not joking either. Maybe I'm traumatized from those experiences. We actually had to take the short bus to school. Why I couldn't take the regular bus, I think it was just to humiliate us. We would have to leave school 15 minutes early. Why? Again, just to humiliate us. We'd have to walk down the hallway so all the kids can see us leaving 15 minutes early to get into the short bus. But yeah, I did grow up that way. And so I don't know, I'm sharing that maybe because I just want to say I am sensitive to people who are not playing with the full set. But I'm not naive to the idea that they're just as dangerous. Maybe more so because it's not even about, there's nothing there to stop them. And the idea that a judge would give him 5 years, and if you say he's not all there, send him to prison. He should be in an institution that should be housing him. Whatever it is, a mental institution, something. Just doesn't make sense. Or we've been fooled and he's manipulating us. Anyways, that is it this time. And with that, I'll let you go.